everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we want to talk a little bit to you about sleep. So what kind of sleep patterns do we have, why we follow them, and how it's working for us?
Yeah, so usually we get into bed like between 7 and 8 p.m, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll chat, we'll sort of talk about, events of the day, how it's made us feel, whatever, and then we'll usually sort of plan the next day. Usually we'll say what we're going to have for breakfast and what we're going to have for dinner, like what beans we're going to put on. We're always thinking about that, right? Yeah. Then then eventually, like maybe just after 9, it'll be like, we're ready to go to bed now. And then we'll pretty much go to bed. And then pretty much every day except for our one rest day a week, we will wake up at 7 a.m. There is a few days here and there that we do get up a little bit earlier if we have an exceptionally long training session, such as 3 hours plus, because otherwise that sets us back throughout the day. So then we'll find if we get up that half hour, 1 hour earlier, then we'll be
it just sets us off.
It just sets us off balance. And then we end up having a late dinner, end up getting into bed late, by late I mean like 8:30 or something. So yeah, it just messes us up. So but yeah, the sleep, I mean, we have 10 hours of sleep each night pretty much.
Yeah, pretty close to that. I'd say about 9 to maybe 10 hours. So like the important thing we wanted to talk about is getting into a good evening routine to get you to a good sleep routine, because I think sleeping is very, very high on the list for priorities to get you to a healthy state, a healthy well-being. I think sleep is definitely underrated when it comes to health and weight loss and weight management. It really, really plays a big importance on your hormones. So I think getting enough sleep is incredibly important to heal the body, to recuperate, to re-energize you for the next day.
Yeah, I remember before I met you, I wasn't getting the best amount of sleep, was I? And the amount wasn't too bad, but the times. I remember sometimes we'd be messaging each other and you'd be like, what are you still doing up, get to bed, mister. And even then, you were looking after me like that. But yeah, I think I went through stages of, although I'd usually have 8 hours of sleep each night, there would be times when, I was going to bed at like 12 and then having to lie in, just to make sure I got the sleep and things like that. And it's not ideal, is it?
It messes you up a little bit too. I mean, getting 8 to 9 hours on certain times can be better than others. So what I'm trying to say is, let's say if you can't get to bed till midnight or 1 a.m. and you do sleep a full 8 to 9 hours. Let's say you wake up again the next day at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. So you get like the full 8 to 10 hours of sleep, but it's the wrong time you should be sleeping. Getting into a good sleeping pattern would be close to when the sun is setting, and getting up to when the sun is rising. That would be the most ideal, because that's just how animals are in nature too, unless they're nocturnal, of course. But that's how we should be. That's what we should be aiming for.
And that's another thing that we forgot to add as well. Before we go to bed, like an hour or so before, we have our lights off.
Yes.
And we usually sort of lying down, and we're not really looking at our phones like much, if at all.
Yeah.
We're certainly not sat there staring at our phones, because obviously having the lights off is pointless if you're then just going to stare at a light screen. So if we do look at our phones, it's just to quickly check a calendar or whatever. So we sort of try and make sure that we wind down, make sure that we're not doing anything too stressful or thinking about things, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, getting into a good evening routine is definitely key to helping you fall asleep and getting a good night's rest. So I think one thing that I used to be very guilty of, and I think many of you are too, is, like you said, looking through your phone and reading up things and looking on social media. It's
getting
just
stimulated.
It's not just the bright light of the phone. It's also the stimulation of seeing everyone else's conversation, seeing what people are writing, seeing what they're posting.
Arguments.
Exactly. Yeah. So it gets you all kind of riled up, and you want to get into a relaxive kind of
blissful almost.
Blissful state before getting into bed. It really, really relaxes you. That way you can get to a state where you can easily fall asleep and have a better good night's rest.
Yeah. And we'll find that in that sort of hour or so of us sort of lying there chatting or whatever, we'll be yawning and we'll be getting more and more tired as the time goes on, and then it'll eventually get to a point where it's like, yeah, we can sleep now.
Yeah. So that is pretty much it, I think. That's
So yeah, just I mean, if you are struggling with your sleep, try and go to sleep earlier. Try and get into sort of early to bed, early to rise. That sort of thing. Try that, see if it works for you. If it doesn't, I guess whatever. Just try and make sure that if you are too stimulated at night time, try to do things. You know, whether it's listening to a relaxing audiobook or
taking a bath.
Yeah, taking a bath. Obviously, there's other things you can do like meditation. You know, you can just. I used to find that reading a book.
Yeah.
You know, because I although the book was in some way stimulating, it was also very boring. You know, it's just like they say to you if you're trying to struggle to sleep, right, to count sheep because it's boring. Well, that's for me what reading a book was like. So it was quite boring. So I'd be sat there reading my book, and I'd honestly be like. Ended up like this, dozing off with the book on my head, dozing off, and then I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh, I must have fallen asleep, and then I'd put the book down and turn my lamp off and go to sleep, sort of thing. So yeah, like don't look at any bright lights. Like if you do go to toilet, you know, potentially use your phone to light up the room or whatever. You know, if you need to take a pee and you know shine the basin or whatever, but don't drop your phone down the toilet though. And also like another thing we at the moment like you use candles as well to light the room up at the night time. So it's the kind of light that you can look at, but it doesn't stimulate you.
Yeah. For sure. So if you found the video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you're new to either of our channels, subscribe for more because we help you guys live a healthy vegan lifestyle. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.